that I need to address real quick. Oh wow, this is going crazy now. We're gonna be streaming in a minute, guys. So I just want you guys to take a look at what's going on right now. Let me get you some music real quick. Hi there. All right, are we there? Let's go. Let me get the thumbnail. I'll be with you guys in a minute, guys, okay? All right, almost there. Okay, we got it. Let's go. Okay, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Ricky 365. My name is Rick, and this is your channel, guys. Today we're gonna be talking about this nonsense, riots and whatever is going on in Washington D.C., guys. This is the vote.
Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown.
Mr. Burr. Ms. Cantwell. Mrs. Capito.
This is the moment.
Mr. Carden. Mr. Carper. Mr. Casey. Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton. Mr. Kramer. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Cruz. Mr. Daines. Ms. Duckworth. Mr. Durbin. Ms. Ernst. Mrs. Feinstein. Mrs. Fisher. Mrs. Gillibrand. Mr. Graham. Mr. Grassley. Mr. Haggerty. Ms. Harris. Ms. Hassan. Mr. Holy. Mr. Heinrich. Mr. Hickenlooper. Ms. Hirono. No. Mr. Hoven. I got excited. Mrs. Hyde-Smith. Mr. Inhofe. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Kane. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kennedy. Mr. King. Ms. Klobuchar. Mr. Lankford. Mr. Leahy. Mr. Lee. Mrs. Loeffler. Mr. Lujan. Ms. Lummis. Mr. Manchin. Mr. Markey.
It's getting intense.
Mr. Marshall. Mr. McConnell. Mr. Menendez. Mr. Merkley. Mr. Moran. Ms. Murkowski. Mr. Murphy. Mrs. Murray. Mr. Paul. Mr. Peters. Mr. Portman. Mr. Reed. Mr. Risch. Mr. Romney. Ms. Rosen. Mr. Rounds. Mr. Rubio. Mr. Sanders. Mr. Sass. Mr. Schatz. Mr. Schumer. Mr. Scott of Florida. Mr. Scott of South Carolina. Mrs. Shaheen. Mr. Shelby. Ms. Sinema. Ms. Smith. Ms. Stabenow. Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Tester. Mr. Thune. Mr. Tillis. Mr. Toomey. Mr. Tuberville. Mr. Van Hollen. Mr. Warner. Ms. Warren. Mr. Whitehouse. Mr. Wicker. Mr. Wyden. Mr. Young.
Right now, we're having some kind of issue with this thing. Let's see what's going on. So the question here is, on the vote here is, does anyone uh, object to the certification of the EC results? And we did have a couple of yes or ayes. So let's see what happened.
On this vote, the yeas are 6, the nays are 93. The objection is not sustained. The Secretary will notify the House of the action of the Senate, informing that body that the Senate is now ready to proceed to joint session with further counting of the electoral vote for President and Vice President. Majority Leader.
Mr. President. So, colleagues, here's where we are. We have a few more speakers now as we wait for the House to finish their debate and vote. We expect the House to finish voting on Arizona between 11:30 and midnight. I ask unanimous consent the Senate be in a period of morning business with the following senators permitted to speak therein for up to 5 minutes each: Senator Toomey, Senator Rubio, Senator Collins.
And on our side, Senators Wyden, Hirono, and Coons.
Finally, following their remarks, the Senate stand in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
No.
Maybe not. We may have. Okay, so we'll figure it out.
The Senate be in a period of morning business with the following senators permitted to speak therein for up to 5 minutes each: Toomey, Rubio, Collins.
Wyden, Hirono, and Coons.
Without objection.
Not many will.
Is this isn't yours, right? Got it.
So we're in recess.